New year, new you. Enroll in Stanbridge University's LVN, RN, VetTech, OTA, or PTA programs. Campuses located in Orange County, Los Angeles, and Riverside. Ranked a top 10 California Best Small College in 2020. Financial aid available for those who qualify. This new year, take the next step toward a rewarding career. Apply today for the winter 2021 classes and jumpstart your new year. Learn more at stanbridge.edu.
At Eide Bailly, we're in business because you are in business. Our team of more than 2,500 CPAs and business advisors is focused on one thing: you. Eide Bailly. What inspires you inspires us.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is Daily Drop number 329. Recently, we talked a little bit about how the estate of Jeffrey Epstein was complaining that they weren't able to keep up with their bills because of Denise George and the Virgin Islands having a stranglehold over them, basically. Well, tonight, there's a new article out from ABC News that goes into it in a little bit more detail. It adds some more context to what we discussed earlier, and the gem, like I always talk about, the bit of gold that we'll find in this one, is the Attorney General's office actually responded to ABC News. Now, they didn't respond to OK Magazine, but what I will say is OK Magazine has been way ahead of the curve when it comes to this stuff. They've, you could say they're a tabloid, whatever, that's fine and well. But when it comes to this Jeffrey Epstein case and having access to the emails and stuff from the Attorney General's office and what's going on as far as her civil suit and the estate, they've been smack on. And you got to give them a tip of the cap. But here in this article, there is a little more context considering the Attorney General's office actually responded and added a little bit more to what we heard previously. So let's jump into this article from ABC News, authored by James Hill, and see what's going on. The headline: Executors of Jeffrey Epstein's estate say they're running low on funds. I don't know how that's even possible with all that money, boy. I'll tell you what. Maybe you shouldn't have gardeners running around the whole place all day. Maybe you shouldn't have staff on hand still. Maybe you should consolidate those funds and use that money to go where it's supposed to go, to the survivors. Lawyers for the co-executors of sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's estate contend that the Attorney General of the U.S. Virgin Islands is crippling the administration of the $655 million estate and jeopardizing its ability to pay operating expenses and legal bills, according to court records in St. Thomas. Now remember, we discussed all of this earlier. Chris Spargo over at OK has been all over this and talked about this previously. But again, this is adding some context. This is going to add some meat to the bone. And of course, it's an important subject, and it doesn't hurt to revisit it, right? We need to be aware of what the estate is up to and what these slimeball executors, Indike and Khan, are really trying to pull. Because I don't trust them one bit, folks, not one bit. And I've said it before, I think that there has to be some sort of mechanism in place to get rid of these guys as executors of the estate. Why should they be in a position to victimize these survivors all over again, considering that especially Indike is alleged to have taken a serious part in facilitating a lot of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes? You really think as in-house counsel, he didn't know what was going on, that Epstein wasn't running shit by him? Come on, folks. An estate bank account dwindled to about $240,000 last month, estate lawyers wrote, and argued that unless the Attorney General released additional funds, the estate would be unable to meet its imminent financial obligations for staff payroll and utilities at Epstein's U.S. and French properties, appraisals of those properties for eventual sale, and maintenance and parking for Epstein's idled planes and helicopters. How much maintenance do parked helicopters and idled planes really need? Come in, give them a wash, maybe start them up once a month or whatever the hell it may be. But come on, you don't need all of that money to make sure that these parked helicopters and these idled planes are getting serviced. And another thing, why aren't they sold already? What are you guys waiting for? Sell all of this shit right now. In the event that the Attorney General's continues, the estate's co-executors will no longer be able to continue to administer the estate, wrote Christopher Croblin, counsel for the estate's co-executors, in a letter to a probate court judge last month. And that's another thing. Why do probate executors need need lawyers of their own? And you really think they're paying for those lawyers out of their own pocket? No, the estate's paying for these lawyers. So in essence, the survivors are paying for these lawyers. How is that possible? Why are these executors able to muddle up the situation? Just get rid of them. You want to save some money? Well, let's save money on their counsel by getting rid of these executors and letting whoever else the court appoints take care of it. I mean, this is ridiculous right now. The residential properties will quickly deteriorate. The aircraft and other assets will fall into disrepair. Its assets will remain unsold, and legal proceedings will be defaulted. Yeah, no more leading. What? I don't even know what that means. Legal proceedings? The guy is dead. Okay? Enough. The executors, they gotta go. Then there needs to be some sort of commission, court appointed, regulated, whatever it may be, put into their place to make sure that all of this occurs and all of this money and these assets are divvied up in the proper manner, because everything's being siphoned off. Electric bills? What do you need, electricity in these places? Nobody's there. Who's running around at these houses? If they're going to be showed or whatever, call the electric company, get the electric turned on for that month. But you need the electric on right now? Hell no. Why? Who's living there? Who's still getting fat at the buffet of Jeffrey Epstein's criminal behavior? The island's territory's Attorney General, Denise George, has exerted strict oversight of the estate's purse strings since January, when she sued the estate's co-executors and a host of related corporations, alleging that Epstein's network of corporate entities were part of a criminal enterprise used to fund and conceal the trafficking of women and girls in the Virgin Islands. Think about that for a minute, folks. The Attorney General of the Virgin Islands, which is a United States Attorney General, is saying that all of these corporations, the co-executors, were all part of the criminal enterprise. They were all part in helping Jeffrey Epstein conceal and conduct his sex trafficking operation. And these are the same people that are the executors of the estate? How is that possible? In what reality is that acceptable? These two dudes need to, like I've said several times now, these two dudes, Indike and Khan, need to be guests of the state, not executors of an estate. As a result, the Attorney General placed criminal activity liens that effectively froze all of the estate's holdings worldwide. That's what happens in a RICO case, folks, okay? Now, if this was a long-reaching RICO case, if this bloomed and these people were serious about going after this in the proper manner, then every one of these people, like Leon Black, Jess Staley, Glenn Dubin, Les Wexner, all of their accounts would be frozen as well, because their money, some of it at the very least, was gotten through ill-gotten gains by their involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. That's how this works. Now, it's up to the estate to prove to this attorney general that the money that they're spending is being spent on necessities. And they have not done that so far. So that's why the attorney general has tightened the tourniquet here and is not letting any more money trickle out and dribble out, because she does not trust Indike & Khan either. Since then, the Attorney General has frequently questioned the estate's expenditures and operating expenses and demanded that her office be provided with documentation to justify the costs. And as we've heard previously, they've not done that. You know, if you have a job as, say, like a runner, right? Say you're working at a concert and you're doing production and you're in a runner position. And the band's production manager sends you out on a run and they want you to purchase a bunch of stuff from the store. Well, they give you money and then you bring back receipts. That's how this works, okay? Trust but verify. Do you really think, does anyone really think, that the state, the attorney general, or anyone involved is going to trust Indike & Khan with Jeffrey Epstein's fortune? These two guys have a proven track record of being involved with a bunch of, let's be generous here, okay? With a bunch of very shady looking financial deals. And these guys think they're not going to have any oversight, that they're not going to have anybody to slap them in the ass with a ruler when they get out of line? Sorry, you guys don't deserve that sort of lateral ability. All right, you guys do not deserve to just be able to do whatever you want. But in a statement Tuesday to ABC News, the Attorney General's office contended that the estate has been unwaveringly unwilling to provide such information. Now, this is the first we've heard from the office, and this is why I said this is the gem, right? This is the bit of gold dust in here, and why we go back and revisit these articles. This is why we add the context, because there might be something in one of these articles that wasn't in the first one that helps put the pieces together. And now with the statement from the Attorney General's office, we're going to be able to add a little bit more context. The Attorney General has consistently reminded the estate that the government is willing to release funds to pay for the estate's documented expenses, including any emergency expenses to preserve the estate, the statement said. That sure seems to be a far cry away from what Indike & Khan are saying, right? Oh, we're going broke. There's only $240,000 left in the account. How are we going to pay the electrical bill? Who's going to pay for the Xbox Game Pass? That's basically what they're saying, right? They're not talking about necessities. They're not talking about security. They're talking about having staff still and power and electricity. And what does any of that mean? If nobody is living there, turn that shit off and set it up with the energy company that every now and then you'll have to get it turned back on. I am sure they will understand the circumstances if they're explained. Absent verification that funds are being used for legitimate and appropriate purposes and consistent with her duty under Virgin Islands law, the Attorney General cannot and will not release additional funds. Bitch, show me the receipts. That's what she's saying. If you went out and bought a bag of Doritos, I need a receipt that says Doritos on it. But no, these scumbags can't even do that. They can't even provide basic documentation about how they're spending the survivors' fazuls, because that's what they're doing. They're siphoning this money off from the survivors, from those the most affected by this madman and these sons of bitches who help facilitate them. And there is no redress for that? There is no way to get rid of these scumbags? How about we slap them with criminal indictments? That'll probably get them out of here, right? That'll have them worrying about something else. One recent dispute, according to court records, arose when the Attorney General's office learned the estate was paying the legal expenses of an immigration attorney the government has reason to believe was retained to seek immigration status for survivors of Epstein and other sexual abuse. So in other words, one of the co-conspirators, one of the players on the stage, one of the people who helped facilitate the abuse and trafficking of some of these survivors was still being paid from the very money that was going to be dispersed to these survivors. How can someone not see that as being wrong? How can anybody claim that that is not absolutely disgusting and should not be allowed? Payments to defend this lawyer are not appropriate expenditures of estate funds, and these payments suggest that estate funds are being used even now to conceal and protect participants in Epstein's criminal enterprise, an attorney for the government wrote in a court filing. So the court, the state, right, the attorney general is asserting in court filings that Epstein had a criminal enterprise. They're saying it point blank. This was a criminal enterprise. He was engaged in it, and they're still paying out those participants who were involved. Can we have a RICO charge, please? Can all of these people who were co-conspirators, who enriched themselves, or who otherwise took part get their indictments, please? I am waiting. Not very patiently anymore, but I am waiting. Lawyers for the estate countered that some people who had been subpoenaed by the Virgin Islands government could not afford counsel and have requested assistance from the estate. Yeah, no, go get yourself public defender like every other poor person in the world. Don't think you're going to reach into the estate's pocket. Either pay for your own lawyer or get yourself a public defender like every other poor person in the United States, you dirty scumbags. Your days of living on the high horse are over. Get used to how it looks on the other side of the fence, you rat bastards. It's deeply troubling that a government law enforcement agency contends that affording individuals the opportunity for legal representation in the face of a scopeless law enforcement investigation constitutes an act of concealment, Kroblin wrote in a letter submitted to the court. So basically he's saying that the whole entire estate's bankroll and their coffers should just be opened up, and it should be a free-for-all for anybody who was involved or who was a co-conspirator or who was named in a wide-ranging, wide and vast case. All of those people should have access to the best lawyers in the world. Why is that? Why should they be given that sort of defense when regular people would not be given that sort of defense? It's not the survivor's job to pay for these people. These people were involved in making these people victims. So, guess what? The estate should not be paying them one single cent. If they want good lawyers, they want access to these good lawyers, nobody's stopping them. Nobody's saying you can't go and pay for them lawyers on your own, or you can't start a GoFundMe to pay for your legal account. What we're saying here is, well, the estate is not going to pay for it. The estate's attorneys have moved to dismiss the government's lawsuit and have asked a court to lift the liens. In a recent court filing, they claim the estate's operating costs included $180,000 a month for staff and expenses at Epstein's properties, and $83,560 for maintenance and parking of his aircraft. The estate also owed $4 million in legal fees associated with defending lawsuits against the estate, including more than 24 filed by alleged survivors of Epstein's abuse. Attorneys for the estate were not immediately available for comment. And now remember, in the OK article, all of these numbers jive up. So what it shows you is that the stuff that OK is reporting about this case and that Chris Spargo is reporting about this case are right on point. They have it in there, they have a source, and they're getting good access to the materials and emails that are being sent between the Virgin Islands office, the Attorney General's office, and the courts and the estates. So I'll definitely be adding those OK articles to the catalog moving forward, especially when it's talking about the Virgin Islands. But you see here, folks, you see the battle, you see the tug of war, and you see how the estate is still trying to play games. But what do you expect when you have a viper and a scumbag like Indike and Khan involved? If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI at protonmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. All of the links that go with this episode can be found in the description box. All right, everybody, I'll be back tomorrow morning, and we'll see what's what.
Looking for a beverage that is full of flavor and fun with no bad stuff? With Zevia, you can have it all. Craveable flavors, refreshing choices, always zero sugar and 0 calories. Zevia. Live your best.
Introducing touch-free payments from PayPal, a safe way for your customers to pay. Simply download the PayPal app and display your own unique QR code for your customers to scan. Whether you're a market seller,
I'll take 2 tomatoes and a cucumber.
poodle pamperer, piano tuner, or plumber. Signing up to accept touch-free payments for your business is easy. Touch-free QR code payments. Not applicable to PayPal Here transactions. Other fees may apply. Shop safe with PayPal.